Hello, Internet. The Morgan You Know Podcast Network presents Balls and Brew.
Well, I hope you enjoyed your fill of Chris King there. He is not going to be with us on this episode of Balls and Brew, the flagship sports podcast here on the Morgan You Know Podcasting Network. I am your host, Rod Morgan. Joining me is the producer of this podcast, James Jamriska. Jimmy, we don't really know where Chris is. Should we be worried? Do we think he's not showing up because we were going to admonish him? Which one do you want to go with?
All the above. I'm really worried. Maybe the grandfather clock needed to be reset or the batteries or something in that. And yeah, he's probably scared because we've got him and we've got him good. I'm upset.
I really am kind of upset too because I don't know if I want to bring it up without him here to answer to it. But we do have our guy, our football handicapper. It's starting to be that season, Jimmy, where we're going to need to hear from Mr. Williams more frequently. So let's bring him on now. Josh Williams. Josh, how you doing?
What's up, boys? What's going on? It's football season.
It definitely is football season. I flipped over to HBO the other day and I saw that the Detroit Lions were this year's Hard Knocks. I didn't know anything about that, but it looked like Dan Campbell was doing up-downs. We got crazy things going on in Detroit, Mr. Williams.
Let's go. Bite kneecaps, man. That's must-see TV. Bite kneecaps. You got Jamal Williams getting emotional over the third day of practice. Let's go. It's Detroit Lions football.
It is definitely football season once again. Camps are up and going. We're seeing news come out. We're going to touch on a couple of open quarterback competitions. We're going to talk about something that doesn't often get talked about, football broadcasters. We had an unprecedented offseason of broadcasters moving around and guys getting big contracts, and me and Jimmy and Josh will try to chop up football broadcasting the same way we talked about college football on our last episode of Balls and Brew. But Jimmy, we skipped Balls and Brew so that people would check out the 100th episode of the Morgan You Know podcast. So Balls and Brew listeners should definitely dip back in and listen to that, right?
Oh, they should. That was one of the more fun episodes we've ever done. And it really does show a kind of a behind the scenes of people not paying attention to rules and also not even caring about them. So you can kind of look in Rod and I what we have to deal with a lot of the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Chris King pulled the wool over our eyes in the draft. I'm going to hold off. Chris is going to answer for himself.
Nope.
You know what I mean? We're not going to call him out in open court here without him here to defend himself, but just make sure you've listened to the 100th episode and be ready when we get Chris back. But Mr. Williams, last time we had you on, we talked a little college football. I enjoyed that discussion. Let's start there a little bit more. You just informed me before this podcast that the Big Ten Conference will no longer be shown on ESPN. Explain. What's going on here?
Yeah, they lost the rights, and that's not just football. That's also basketball. So it looks like CBS and NBC are going to come in and start broadcasting some Big Ten games, and that's pretty huge. That's like the first time in 40 years where ESPN's not going to have any of these games. Jimmy touched on it a little bit before in the pregame fist fight about possibly these games going on Paramount. There's going to be some people that are searching for games. Some people probably older than us that are going to be super frustrated trying to find these Big Ten games. They can't find them. Hopefully, a lot of them stay on CBS and NBC, but we know that money talks, and they're going to be floating around all these different networks. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. I think the ESPN's going to go after maybe Pac-12 and Big 12 games, specifically during basketball season, because they got to fill that void there. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
So, Jimmy, the networks, again, are shifting things up in college football. Do you care that Big Ten's not going to be on ESPN anymore? Do you think that there's more of an effect this might have that we're not thinking of? You usually can see things differently than me, Jimmy Jam. What do you got?
So I'm looking at it through the lens of ESPN. They need to kind of figure out where they're going to be in the next 5 to 10 years, because right now you've got NFL, but not much of it. And now you're losing the Big Ten, which is huge because that's such a big fan base. Where is ESPN going to go? You can only do so many hot takes and those types of shows before you need to be about sports. So that's my main concern. Otherwise, as far as the viewing audience goes, generally speaking, you're going to be able to find things pretty easy if you have. We're talking about people that have cable packages or they have Hulu Plus TV or YouTube TV. Those are easy to find because on your YouTube and your Hulu, you just go and go to sports and you find the game. It doesn't matter what channel it's on. I am worried though about the future of ESPN in this case though.
Yeah, that's a very good point there. You don't want to be in the business of we're just regurgitating takes that you can get on podcasts or you can get on Twitter and Instagram feeds and things of that nature. And so ESPN wants to have a foothold in college. But Mr. Williams, let me ask you, as a guy who really likes to take in the college, I know more college basketball than college football, but you're more of a college fan than me, period. Is your appetite satiated by the hole in ESPN's schedule for Big Ten and Pac-12 games? That doesn't sound too exciting to me, especially because USC and UCLA is not even involved in those anymore.
I mean, I'm probably in the minority for college basketball. I would love to see more Pac-12 games because the Pac-12 used to be played on, or a lot of the big games used to be played on the Pac-12 network, and you had that network was like ridiculously expensive compared to all the other packages. Like I've got like every sports channel you can think of, and like I couldn't get the Pac-12 network because it was just off the hook. It was crazy. So hopefully we'll be able to see more Pac-12 games, more Big 12 games, but it doesn't really change too much because I still think there's going to be a lot of games on the Big Ten network, and still as college football goes, the Big Ten game of the week will still be on Fox. So it changes a little bit, but yeah, I'm with Jimmy, man. I don't know what ESPN's gonna do here with some of their plans going forward.
Well, let's not cry too much for ESPN now. Let's think about this from the Big Ten standpoint. I heard you tell me that these Big Ten games are going to run at 3:30 in the afternoon on Saturdays, though. That's a pretty big prime time slot running there on CBS. That used to be how the SEC dominated. Do you think this is going to mean good things for Big Ten football?
Yeah, I was surprised to see that. I don't know if they're going to go like every other week, going to go off and on with the SEC and the Big Ten, but I was even surprised that they would put the second Big Ten slot there. So that just tells you that the viewership there in the Midwest, they love their Big Ten football. So, yeah, that's pretty big for the Big Ten to get a 3:30 spot on it on CBS. So we'll see how they divvy up the schedule going forward.
Jimmy, last question on this topic. Do you think it behooves the carcasses of the Pac-12 and the Big 12 to try to come together here and collectively bargain with ESPN? They'll come out better on the wash? Is that what we're going to see now maybe because of this move?
Okay, so there's a lot going on in this space right now. So let's take a step back real quick. The SEC is moving to ABC ESPN in a deal that pays them around $300 million for its top games beginning in 2024. So you're going to see that in 2024. So in the meantime, that's going to be about a $700 million total deal into the SEC. So ABC ESPN has kind of put all their money in that basket, where CBS kind of was like, oh, you can take it for $300. Didn't realize they would have to pay $350 for the Big Ten. Those other conferences that you were talking about, yes, they have to do something, or they're just not going to matter anymore, and it's going to be the winner of the Big Ten plays the winner of the SEC every single year in the national championship.
And as a Big Ten fan, I can't say that I'm against that, but the SEC basically already has a stranglehold on that, so it's not necessarily going to be that big of a change for me. So again, college sports, it's the wild, wild west. We have absolutely no idea what's going to happen. That's the newest twist and turn. Let's move on to a more traditional twist and turn during NFL training camps, quarterback competitions. We've always got a couple. Is it a rookie? Do we have a veteran who can hold on one more year? And we had one created in Carolina not too long ago. It wasn't that long ago that Baker Mayfield got traded over to the Carolina Panthers, and we have Baker Mayfield v. Sam Darnold. Mr. Williams, you're the football guy around here. When you heard that news, did you think that did anything to your prognostication for Carolina Panthers football this upcoming season?
Well, they did improve the offensive line, and so that helps Baker a lot. We saw him with a good offensive line a couple years ago with Cleveland thrive with the play calling of Stefanski. So that helps him. He's got some weapons there, and Christian McCaffrey, if he's healthy out of the backfield, one of the best running backs in the league. So, and he's got this on his side. Matt Rule needs to save his job. I would say that Matt Rule is probably the coach that is, has the hottest seat right now, and so they need to win. If Matt Rule gets fired, later on in the year, and maybe you're playing like in a super flex fantasy league and you got Baker, I would be worried with Baker as your second quarterback because they're liable to bench him late in the year and go with rookie Matt Corral totally bypass Sam Darnold. I mean, I don't even think that should be a competition. Baker should easily beat out Sam Darnold. But yeah, I think what you got to worry about is if Carolina goes down early, starts losing a lot of games, Matt Rule gets fired, you could see Matt Corral there in the last 3 or 4 games. So if you're counting on Baker, maybe in a super flex league for fantasy, that could get a little sketchy there late in the year.
Now, Jimmy, you're not the resident conspiracy theorist around here. Our good buddy Wu-Tang is, but you've spent an awful lot of time with him in your earlier days, just like I have. Let me throw this conspiracy at you. If Williams is right that the hottest seat in the league is on Matt Rule, why in the world wouldn't he take one game, start Baker, they lose, one game, start Darnold, they lose, and then put in the rookie in game 3 and say, hey, I got the kid, you got to give me a chance, right? What do you think?
I think he may not make it to game 3, Rod. That's the issue. I think if you want Rule out, having Baker Mayfield on your team is a good way to start. I don't think this is a really good fit. I think it's just going to be too much distraction, and you're going to see a coaching change probably 4 or 5 games in.
Wow, all right, I like that. Jimmy dropping bomb predictions here. I dig that, Matt Rule. He's got a pretty hefty contract, I thought, though. No, right? They're going to have to pay quite a bit of money, but I guess that David Tepper doesn't mind throwing money around. The other quarterback situation that I sort of heard a little bit about, Mr. Williams, would you say that the situation up there in Pittsburgh is probably the number 2 quarterback competition happening? Trubisky v. Rudolph v. Small Hands Kenny Pickett?
Yeah. I mean, we all just assumed that Trubisky was going to be the starter, but he has not looked good in training camp so far, and Mason Rudolph has actually either been even with him or even pulled a little bit ahead. So we'll have to see what goes on there for the 3 games of the preseason, and then Kenny Pickett's I think they're going to bring him along slowly. And he's got the tiny hands, man. You got to bring it along slowly. So we'll see where he's at. If he plays at all this year, I would say it would be the last 4 or 5 games, because I expect Pittsburgh to be bad, but their defense is so good that they're probably not going to be atrocious. So they're probably going to be in the hunt in the last like 4 or 5 weeks. So I would imagine that Trubisky would eventually beat out Rudolph. Man, if he can't beat off Rudolph, the Steelers have major issues.
Well, I imagine you're a Bears fan, and Jimmy Jam, I know you're a Bears fan, so I mean, you could certainly see a scenario where Trubisky can't beat out Mason Rudolph, right? I mean, you're absolutely like, yeah, no, I could totally see that.
Yeah, I don't know why we're even talking about it. It's not really news. It's like, yes, that is true. That is happening.
Okay, but I am excited by the Pittsburgh Steelers nonetheless because of what Williams just said right there, to at least hear him 1 or 2 times in the upcoming year give us his coin phrase of the Tomlin rah-rah spot here. He's playing the Tomlin rah-rah spot. I love it when you play that, Mr. Williams.
Yeah, they're going to be in the Tomlin rah-rah spots a lot more often this year than they were in the last 5, 10, 15 years. So, yeah, I mean – They do not have a good offensive line either, so that's not good for Trubisky or Rudolph either. I think one publication had them rated as the worst offensive line in the league. So yeah, it could be a rough year offensively for the Steelers, but they have a fantastic defensive unit, so they should keep them in games.
The Biscuit could be running for his life if he even gets the job over Mason Rudolph. Let's go out to Seattle. I'm told that, Jimmy, at least I guess you think that Drew Lock is winning this job, but I mean, ideally there's a competition here between Drew Lock and Geno Smith, is there not?
Kind of, but you really need to go with Drew Lock just to see. He's still relatively young. He has been injured, so I would think you need to go with Drew Lock. And if not Drew Lock, I think Jimmy G's got a good shot after he gets dumped by 49ers.
Ooh, okay, so that's
not traded. He would have to get released. They're not trading him to Seattle.
Yeah, no, definitely not. I was gonna say, but that's a key word for our guy Josh Williams. There, he loves to hear them 49ers whenever they come up. So I mean, there you go, Mr. Williams. Tell us. I mean, is Jimmy G just gonna get cut by the 49ers? Is that where this thing ends?
He's only on the roster because they don't want Seattle to take him. So they know that Seattle's going to swoop him up if they cut him. They're trying to work out a deal. Maybe the Giants, maybe Cleveland. Like, I don't see how after all this is said and done, Watson plays at all this year. If those guys want to actually try and win games this year, Jimmy G is the best option. So I still think that the Niners are trying to work out some sort of deal with Cleveland down the line here.
Really? So you think even after the 6-game suspension was handed down by the independent arbitrator, I know the NFL is appealing it, but you think there's still a scenario that he doesn't play this entire year, huh?
Oh yeah. I mean, I would put the over under at 12.5. He's not playing. They won't allow it. Goodell's going to put his fist down. The judge bumbled this. Well, actually, the NFL bumbled it like 10 years ago with the Ray Rice ruling. But yeah, they can't let him play. There's so much stuff going on, and I don't think he's going to play at all this year. It would be my guess.
Okay, Jimmy, I know that you're not the biggest Baker Mayfield fan in the world, but I mean, what in the world was Cleveland thinking about here? I mean, I just don't understand how you had a guy on your roster that could have been playing quarterback for you right now, and you get rid of him for next to nothing, and you'd sign this guy who you knew there was going to be a situation for, give him all this guaranteed money. I mean, I don't understand. I guess let's not do the whole Deshaun Watson case here, Jim, but why in the world do you think Baker Mayfield had to get shipped out of Cleveland ultimately? What was going on there?
He wore out his welcome. His demeanor, his attitude is terrific if you are winning. That's why it worked in college. He was a walk-on. He came up. He ended up, being fantastic for them. But it's got to run really get really old for people when this guy keeps, yelling and screaming, and he's not producing on the field. That's the thing. You can't be that way if you're not winning. That's what happened, and that's why they had to get rid of him, because in that locker room it was just you could see people just didn't like him, right, Williams?
Yeah, and this is another thing that's going on with Kyler Murray right now. This might be like the beginning stages with Kyler Murray. And what do these two guys have in common? And this is going to sound crazy, but they are, from what I've read from multiple sources, these guys are addicted to playing these video games, and they're not preparing for these football games. And it's taken a toll on their teammates. Jimmy's had it spot on, man. I think the teammates just got tired of Baker. I like Baker. Like, I think he plays hard. I think the coach probably should have benched him late in the year because he was playing too injured. But the Pittsburgh game specifically, there were multiple reports where he was playing video games nonstop, didn't even prepare for the game, and that was the game they needed to win to get in the playoffs. So, and Kyler's the same way. Kyler's got way worse body language, though, in my opinion, than Baker. He's got more talent than Baker, but it would not surprise me at all if in 2 years we're talking about the same issues with Kyler, with him losing the locker room and losing his team.
See, I get it. These guys are different than me, and I'm the old man screaming at clouds here every once in a while. But, I mean, I get that Baker's going to be a little bit butthurt, for lack of a better phrase, when they get Deshaun Watson in a trade and sign him to this big, huge contract. But then he's got to accept reality and see that there's nobody out there that wants this guy. Nobody's falling all over themselves to bring you in and say, hey, Baker, you're our savior. You're our starting quarterback. So then you got to eat a little bit of humble pie. And the best situation was going to be Cleveland. I just think that that's unfortunate that we live in this world now where, like, these guys just get hurt and then we just say it's an irreparable situation. Well, you know what? You got a contract to play football and nobody else really wants you to play football right now. So you guys let's figure this out and get it done. The Cleveland Browns are in such a worse spot right now than they were before for so many different reasons. But one of them is just because, well, these guys can't get along with Baker Mayfield. Tough. That's what I would say. Tough. This guy's your quarterback. Deal with it. Go ahead, Mr. Williams.
Yeah, and the owners are the other 29 owners are pissed at the Browns for giving all this guaranteed money to Watson. Absolutely ridiculous. You're right. The Browns did not do their homework. They didn't interview anybody with that whole case, and they gave him all that guaranteed money, and it's just looking like a total shit show throughout the NFL. So Browns are public enemy number one. That's why another reason why I don't think Watson's going to play this year, man. I just don't think these owners are going to let him.
Poor Jacoby Brissett. Listen, Browns fan, as a former Colt guy here, all right, Brissett is not terrible, okay? He's not a guy that's going to lead you to the promised land, you know what I mean? Like, you're not going to get a replacements level happy ending with Shane Falco type deal, Keanu Reeves, Gene Hackman, shout out for that movie. You're not going to get that with Jacoby Brissett, but the guy's serviceable. So to have all of these other problems they have going on in Cleveland, meanwhile, Jacoby Brissett's like, hey, I haven't done anything wrong. All I did was sign to be the backup quarterback here, and I can kind of play. I mean, Jimmy, you watch some Colts games. You know Brissett's got a little bit of game.
If he's your backup quarterback, you're pretty happy with that. He's your starting quarterback in Cleveland now, though. He's not horrible, but it's not going to be too pretty for the first couple of weeks. By the way, I've been really down on Baker in Cleveland, so of course you know that means everyone go put all your money on Baker in Cleveland to do good in their respective divisions.
Yeah, Baker in Carolina, you mean?
I meant Baker, Cleveland. Yeah, Cleveland will do good now because I'm down on them. Baker will do good because I'm down on him in Carolina. Yes.
All right, I got you. Well, Mr. Williams, is there any other little football nugget you want to throw out here? We're of course going to have you back on before the season starts, and we'll get into more of a deeper, your Warren Sharp level preview. But any other more nuggets you want to throw out here before we move on to a little bit of announcer talk?
Oh man, I hate to say it, but the most popular bet right now in Vegas is season total Bears under 6.5 wins.
Ouch.
It pains me. It pains me to say it, but this team is probably going to be pretty bad. They have a bottom two offensive line. They didn't give Fields any help. They lost Allen Robinson. They lost probably their two best defensive players other than Roquan Smith, and now Roquan Smith is requesting a trade. And yeah, it doesn't look good. If it wasn't for their extremely easy schedule, I would probably have them with less than 5 wins this year. But, yeah, it's not looking good for the Bears, unfortunately.
Well, I mean, you know, you guys have a young quarterback that you traded an awful lot of assets for, and you really need to become dynamic on the offensive side of the football. So, of course, you hired the Colts defensive coordinator, Matt Eberflus, as your head coach. So, Jimmy, I know that must have excited you tremendously.
It made a lot of sense to bring in someone who can really develop Fields. He's been there before. Yeah, whatever.
All right. You know what? I think that's actually a decent transition to something else that I wanted to get into here, Jimmy, as we're going out. We had some unprecedented movement of NFL announcers in the offseason. Now, if you're a CBS watcher for AFC games, not much is going to change for you there. You're still getting Jim Nantz and Tony Romo calling the big game of the week, the one that'll run at 4 o'clock, or the big 1 o'clock game if Fox has the 4 o'clock game. But now the Fox booth is no longer Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. The Fox booth is now Kevin Burkhardt and Greg Olson. Jimmy, let's start there. Do you have any thoughts on Buck being gone out of Fox after all these years, right? Joe Buck has just been a mainstay on Fox for basically as long as Fox Sports has existed. What are your thoughts there?
Joe Buck does a good job announcing. I'm sorry, and I'm going to get a lot of hate for that at Yeah We Know Pod.
I'm with you, Jimmy. I'm totally with you, so we'll take it together.
But he does a good job. He's a professional, and that's all we ask for. He's not a gimmicky guy at all. I like what he does. But now that being said, Burkhardt and Olson also do a very good job. I'm looking forward to that. I think Olson has been he's been properly rated so far. I think he's one of those up and comers, and people know that he's got a really good sense of the game. I love that. And Kevin Burkhardt is solid as well. I think that Fox should be really happy with that.
So Joe and Troy, don't cry for them too much. They moved over to ESPN, and they become your Monday Night Football crew. Mike Tirico and Chris Collinsworth are still doing NBC Sunday Night Football because Tirico filled in for Al so much, and he was on the pregame show. But now he's actually calling these Sunday night games, and Al moves over to Amazon with Kirk Herbstreit now doing double duty. He'll still do his ESPN college games the weekend, but he'll do the Thursday night games for the NFL. So, Mr. Williams, you have any thoughts there on Al Michaels not being your Sunday night game anymore, but you still get him on Thursday nights?
That sucks, man. That sucks. Because we're usually potting on Thursday night, so I don't think I'm going to be able to catch Michaels. And probably my least favorite out of all those guys you said is Aikman on Monday night, and I'll be able to watch that. So,
but you're a big fan of the Manning cast, which is coming back, so you get that for a lot of games.
Yeah, for sure. Manning over the Manning cast over Aikman all day. So, but I'm with you guys. I really think Burkhardt and Olsen are really good. I think Burkhardt is super underrated. He's really good play-by-play guy. Yeah, and for baseball too. So.
You know who I think is a super underrated color guy, actually? I like a little bit of what Jonathan Vilma does. I believe he works for Fox and maybe they're like C booth, but I like a lot of what Jonathan Vilma does.
Yeah, he's good. Another super fun booth. It's like the 7th booth in Fox, but it's Aqib Talib and Gus Johnson. Like Gus Johnson's awesome. He's more well known for basketball, but when you get Aqib Talib in there, it's funny getting like a corner's perspective. And whenever they throw the flag on the corners, he gets so pissed off. Gus Johnson's got to calm him down, and they're usually doing like, Detroit versus Jacksonville games, so like hardly anybody's watching, but that's actually a fun listen.
Yeah, low stakes, and they get a chance to try a little bit more. Mr. Williams, let me ask you this here. You watch a bunch of games. I know you have multiple monitors going. Do you care who is broadcasting the game, right? Do you think to yourself, okay, I'm actually going to turn the volume up on this game because it's this crew, or does that not matter to you at all? And all of these huge dollars that were passed out this offseason, you had to just be scratching your head the whole time? Or is you as a big-time consumer, you're like, no, I can see that. The announcer does make a difference to me.
Oh, for sure. The announcers definitely make a difference. I mean, I grew up wanting to be a broadcaster, commentator, and so one of the best guys in the business, we haven't touched on him yet, but I know you're a big fan of, super underrated, is Ian Eagle, and I thought for years he should have been doing the Monday night game. They should have gave him the Monday night game. He's witty, he's super sharp, good banter with his partner, doesn't step on toes, and never gets in the way. And like that's exactly what you want out of your play-by-play guy. And so, I definitely listen to, like, I love the Manning cast. I said for like 10 years before that, there should be an alternate cast of just guys just hanging out watching football. And Peyton, you can tell how much Peyton, like, loves the game. Like, he is live or die, like, every single play. And Eli's kind of over there cracking jokes on him, which I think is hilarious. Like, the younger brother cracking jokes, and then the mom gets in via text. Like, the Manning cast is pure gold, in my opinion. So, yeah, the broadcasting definitely matters in my opinion.
Jimmy Jam, what are you looking for out of your color commentator, your supposed more football expert? Is there something that person can do to turn you off?
The shtick kind of turns me off a little bit. A little too much shtick I don't like in that. I kind of want to know exactly, from the mind of the player, which some of these people kind of, like Collinsworth does an okay job, but he's more shticky than anything. I actually like Aikman more than most people because he kind of gives you a different perspective on that. Romo obviously did a great job for the first couple of years. We'll see where he goes from there. But I like to get in, what are the players thinking? What's this next play going to be? Why is it going to be that way? Why did they run that? Because sometimes we sit back, we're like, why would they throw that screen on 3rd and 8? Well, this is why they did, because the last 4 times that they ran that play, the A gap was open or whatever, and I like that. I like that kind of thing.
You know who I always actually loved as far as it comes to former players doing color commentary on a game was Boomer Esiason. I think Boomer was really good at it. He had a Monday Night Football dalliance for a while. He's been on the radio a little bit. But I think the reason he doesn't do it now is because he gets paid a sizable amount of money to host a morning show in New York radio Monday through Friday. So he's got so much work associated with that. But I want a guy who can bring me into the locker room a little bit, right? Can like quickly relay a story about a teammate he had or a situation he was in that relates to the play that we just saw or something that's coming up, right? I want somebody to be able to bring me on, give me the sights and sounds a little bit, but I also want somebody that seems based in the real world, right? I can't have a complete football nerd just going too far, too hardcore in with all the stuff and doesn't seem to have a handle on, hey, I watch other TV shows. I listen to music sometimes. I know movies. So be able to bring me in a couple of references, but put me on the field. That's what I'm looking for out of my color guy that way. Mr. Williams, does that make any sense?
Yeah, and it does, and we would be remiss if we didn't touch on maybe the greatest broadcaster of all time passing away recently, and Vin Scully. I know that he was more well known for the Dodgers and and for good reason. I mean, he could read off a grocery list, and you would be intrigued by it. You'd be sitting on the edge of your seat. But he did do, for people that did not know this, his last game, football-wise, 1981 NFC Championship game between the Niners and Cowboys. He called the iconic Dwight Clark touchdown catch at the back of the end zone, where Chris is still crying to this day about that. So, yeah, Vince Scully, just the all-time best, and we had to shout out him in this podcast.
Absolutely, that's a baseball nugget that I will allow to come into the podcast. R.I.P. to the great Vince Scully. Anybody like me and Williams like you said you wanted to be a broadcaster. I clearly had some thoughts of doing that myself, considering the fact that I've hosted a podcast for the last 6 years and work a little bit on the radio on the weekends. So nothing but love for a guy like Vince Scully. I really do have to say something here that's not been said. All right. I get that Jim Nantz is the face of CBS, and I love Jim Nantz calling college basketball, and I love Jim Nantz in Butler Cabin doing the Augusta Masters tournament. But I don't know that I love Jim Nantz as a football play-by-play man. Jimmy, is that a hot take, or am I onto something?
I would say if you look at the list that we have here, he's probably last on the list. So I don't think it can be that hot of a take. He's got that voice. He's got a calming voice, and it really doesn't overshadow the game, which I think is something you want out of your lead announcer.
All right, if it's not Nance, then Jimmy, give me a name of somebody that's either a broadcaster or a color man that's doing a game, and you're like, oh no, I'm having to put this one on mute.
I don't know if I have one. I don't think it really. Our question earlier, does it really matter that much? I'm not really tuning in for the broadcast. I can't think of one off the top of my head right now.
All right,
Williams,
that's good.
Help me out.
Well, I'm with Rod there with Nance being slightly overrated. He's not annoying or anything, but he's just kind of like too schmoozy for me. Like seems like he's always grasping for that narrative story. And there's more time to do that, like in golf. Like, I'm with you 100%. Like, I like him in golf, and he's pretty good at college basketball. But NFL, I don't particularly care for him. But he's not terrible or anything. I don't change the channel. But this guy, he's more for in the college game, and thank God they took him off the games. But he's still in the studio. I could not listen to Booger McFarlane. He was just too much.
Booger was really trying hard to get the shtick out there.
Yeah, too much for me, man.
Yeah, I like that. I think we've landed on something here. Don't be shticky. Don't be too book nerdish. Seem relatable. Get out of the way, but show proper excitement. That's really tougher to actually accomplish than it sounds easier to say, if that even makes any sense right there. That's why I'm only a semi-professional broadcaster, folks. Well, that's another episode of Balls and Brew. I want to tease something next week. We're going to touch on the NBA a little bit next week, because then I really do feel like we'll be able to tuck it away. But we've had some more movement on the Brooklyn Nets, and that movement on the Brooklyn Nets caused me to put out the Hall of Fame signal to one Father Pete McCormick, and he will be joining us next week. And I know that he's going to have some great perspective on what's going on in Brooklyn, because there's a lot of mercurial athletes in Brooklyn right now, all on the same team. Who knows what's going to spill out with that team? So we got that coming up for you. Jimmy Jam, what do we got coming up on the Yeah We Know in the Ring with Jimmy and Rod pod?
Clash of the Castles right around the corner. We still got all the Vince McMahon Triple H talk. Who's coming back? Who's not coming back? A lot of stuff going on. I would like to be a mercurial athlete in Brooklyn too, by the way.
That would be a little fun, doesn't it? And I'm actually going to call out our guy Josh Williams right here. Josh, listen to the TMYK 100th episode, Save the World Draft podcast, okay? And if you out there are like Mr. Williams and haven't listened to that, do it soon. Josh, what do you say for yourself?
I got to listen to it, man. I usually listen to them all. Somehow that one slipped through the cracks. So it seems like there's a lot of controversy, a lot of yelling back and forth. So
in your defense, Williams, we didn't really promote it very well as the 100th episode or anything.
No, I got to check that out. I'll check it out tomorroght. But
right, well,
for everybody else, yeah. getting ready for some fantasy drafts. Let's go. It's that time of year.
Let's go.
Fantasy draft. That's true. Maybe we'll do some fantasy talk. Although I don't know. The last time I tried to get fantasy talk out of Mr. Williams on this podcast, he wouldn't give anything away because he was worried about the guys he was going to draft against.
Listen, yeah.
No, we'll do it. We'll do it like after our draft because our draft is kind of early-ish this year.
All right.
So.
Well, you listen to the 100th episode of the Morgan You Know, Mr. Williams. You guys out there, if you haven't listened to it yet, check that out. Hopefully, Chris will be back next week. Mr. Williams will be filled in on the controversy. You'll all be filled in on the controversy, and Chris will answer for himself. But since Chris can't answer for himself right now, Jimmy, you're the producer who has to hold all this stuff together, so I guess the final word's going to go to you.
Goodbye, Internet.